All right, welcome to another podcast with Reviving the American Family. I'm Zach,
I'm April.
and today we are going to go over private equity. So exciting. Very
It's
exciting.
super exciting.
So,
Well, maybe not
yeah.
exciting, but you need to know it. You need to know what's going on and why
Yeah.
jobs are disappearing.
Well, private equity does play a big role in the marketplace and how things are ran and businesses are bought and turned into something else or made more profitable or made less profitable. There are certain tactics that go on. I would say let's go over a general definition so people understand. Private equity firms get money from investors. They use that money to purchase either a private company or, in many cases, a public company, and then they will take them private. They will they're supposed to increase the value of that company by reorganization, new products, better products, more profitable, top line revenue. You know, they look at different things, make it more profitable. They usually only have that company for like 3 to 7 years, and then they're going to sell that company for profit for the investors. So that's generally when we think of a private equity company, what they should be doing.
What they were designed to do, which is a good thing. They're saving companies and they're maintaining jobs for middle class people. That's where I like to focus when reviving the American family, because reviving the American family is most families are going to be middle class, and that's great. That's what built this country, was those middle class families. And if private equity does what it's supposed to do, it can revive the American family as well. But that's not what they're doing, and we'll get into it.
Yeah, that's not what some of them are doing.
Some of them.
Yeah. So we want to, and there seems to be over the last maybe decade, we've seen an increase of some issues here of companies that are being bought out, and then within a few years they start to get siphoned. The money is getting siphoned from the company. So there's been a few of these. Just April, what are some recognizable names that people will recognize?
I don't know. Like millennials are going to remember Payless Shoe Source. Big shoe store. I got many of my shoes from high school and from Payless. So they were a victim of private equity. Toys R Us was a victim.
Toys R Us. I mean, a lot of younger kids don't even know what that is anymore.
Right.
But that was like the store that me and you would get so excited to go to because we were getting toys.
It's gone. You can't go and touch the toys anymore and bring them home to your kids. You have to buy them all offline.
Yeah.
So
Big Lots. Forever 21, I think you said.
Went under.
And then one that you like to shop
one
with.
that set a fire under me.
Was Joann's
Fabric.
Yeah.
So I make a lot of my own clothing, and you know that because I like things to fit the way I like them to fit, and I've figured out how to do that. So I'm a sewer, and I make a lot of my own clothing. And as sewers, we don't like to buy fabric offline. It's like I've had bad experience with it. I want to be able to feel that fabric because I'm going to be wearing it on my skin, and that's with most crafters. We like to feel things before we purchase them. We can't do that online. So when I heard that this is what happened with Joann Fabric, especially since Joann Fabric store was doing good, there was no reason for it to go under. 95% of their stores were cash positive. So yeah, that's the one that set a fire under me and really started to make me follow into what a lot of some private equity companies were doing.
Yeah. So I guess in general, they start to prioritize profits for their investors or the private equity firm over sustainability.
Yes.
What they end up doing is not sustainable, and it takes the company under.
Yes.
Why don't you explain to us a little bit more in detail on how that works?
So the first thing that these private equity companies will do is they will buy enough shares in the company to get seats. Then they take that company
or enough shares to make the decisions.
Then they will take that company private. When it goes private, that's when it's not regulated as well as would be as a public company.
Right.
So they can really start to siphon it off and do what they want with it. So they start voting in bad decisions that will sink this company. So the first thing they do is they'll take it private, and then they will start taking out debt against this company, but they won't put it on the books.
So it's called backroom floating debt, I think is what...
Backroom floating debt. It's a hush-hush term. Not a lot of them use it because it's a shady way for them to hide the debt on this company. They'll create shell companies. They will take out debt on this shell company, but the debt who's responsible for that debt is that company. So for examples, we'll use Joann's Fabric as an example. So they'll take out backroom floating debt against Joann's. Joann's is responsible for that debt, but that debt's not on the books. So the investors, no one can see that backroom floating debt. but it's still a responsibility. It's kind of like you buying a car, but the car being responsible for the loan, not you. That's the best way to explain backroom floating debt. So, but the thing is, when they take out this debt, they don't invest it back into the company, which would be fine if you invest that debt back in the company. They dividend it out to the people, the investors.
Okay.
So now
let's say a company takes out $100 million. You would think that company would take that money, use it for their brick and mortar stores to buy a product, to do whatever they need to do, hire better people, whatever the case might be. But you're saying they're giving it straight to the investors.
Straight to the investors. So now this company is responsible for this debt that they can't pay, that is hurting their bottom line.
Okay.
So are you ready to move on to the second one? Any questions about? Okay.
No.
Second one, they will sell any property that company owns. So many of these stores will own their property outright, so they don't have to pay rents. What the private equity company will do is they will sell that property to themselves, to one of their shell companies. They will sell that money from that. Now they own the property. Now the store owes them rent every month, which would have been
the
cash
shell
flow.
company.
Yeah, the shell company
is collecting rent from the brick and mortar, the real company.
Right. And then they dividend that out to the rent. They dividend it out to the investors.
Okay.
So everything that is being made or anything that is being profited is going straight to the investors. It's not going back into the company. They're just siphoning this company with these two tactics.
Okay.
So now they have rent. After they go on from that, they've dividended that out. They sell off any inventory that they have. Anything that they have in their stores, they'll sell that off, dividend that profit that they've sold off. They'll liquidate it. Any liquidation profit, they'll then dividend that out to the investors. Nothing's going back into the company. It's all getting pushed back into the investors. So now that the company doesn't have a home, they've sold their property, and they don't have any cushion, any inventory, they're having to purchase every month. So that's more money coming out till eventually this company is riddled with debt. It has no cushion for inventory. It has no customer service. Everything's being siphoned and given back to the private equity firms until they have no choice but to what? Go bankrupt. The company's now dead. The private investment company has made out like a bandit. They're not responsible for any of this debt. The company is. So they just leave. They're just gone. And then they leave this shipwreck for the taxpayers to take care of. You have all these people now that were employed by this company that are now going on unemployment. Who's paying for that?
And these large companies, we're not talking about 60 to 100 people, maybe at one store. I mean, we're talking thousands of people that they employ.
Yeah, for these stores. They're now on unemployment. That's the taxpayer. Now you have this big store in the middle of this town that's just rotting. That's more expenses for the taxpayers as well. And now you've lost all those jobs as well. And this is how everything's going to be going online as well. I personally don't like buying everything offline. It's convenient for some things, but there's some things I just want to go to a store and I want to buy it.
Right.
So, and plus those brick and mortar stores create jobs. When we don't have those anymore, those are middle-class jobs that will just go to the wayside.
So what do you do with this? Do you create more regulations around this to protect? I mean, as a conservative, I don't love regulations.
The biggest thing that's causing this right now is the carried interest loophole. And Trump he tried to do something about that originally. I don't know where it went from there, but that carried interest loophole allows these companies to pay significantly less on capital gains. So on regular companies, they're paying anywhere from 37%, but these capital gains companies, these private equity investors, they only have to pay like 20%. So they're making out like bandits when they do tactics like this and cripple a company. Red Lobster's another one that we didn't mention. You know, you don't see Red Lobster anymore, but that's what happened to them as well. Private equity got a hold of them and did this tactic.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, hopefully you guys learned a little bit about private equity firms, some of the negative behind it, so we can recognize it. Sometimes regulations and rules are there for a reason. I mean, I don't love the idea of having a lot, but I also think you got to be careful of these firms coming in, taking control over a company, and then just sucking all the money out of it. So that's what we have for today with the private equity firms and short-term gains. We got to make sure we're doing the right investments for our country, for our families.
Stay informed.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.